so far.
Timber, I'll be in tomorrow at 12:30 for my hair.
Oh, yeah, okay. You and 400 other people. I stopped by the fire department today. They all want haircuts.
I'll do 12:45 then.
Yeah. Yeah. Soon. I'm opening soon, believe me. June 12th.
You're opening of what, this year?
Yeah, this year, honey.
That's not gonna happen. That won't happen.
Yeah, June 12th.
Clerk, do we have everyone on?
Yep.
Yes, it does look like everybody's here.
All right, great. Well, we will begin this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
The flag.
The United States of
America.
America.
To the republic.
And to the
Republic for
republic
which it stands.
For this stand.
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Indivisible.
For all. Liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you very much. I had to make sure I was out of camera view there so no one could see that I'm wearing shorts with my suit. Well, we will call the meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Von Crooks,
Here.
Benedetti, Benedetti,
Yeah.
Rick, was that a hear from you? I don't know if Rick's maybe having sound issues. I'm going to give Rick Benedetti a minute to get his sound working.
Okay.
Rick, was that you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Kabawadden?
Present.
Lefevre?
Here.
Pate?
Here.
Perugi?
Virtually here.
Rizeppa?
Here.
Quorum present, Mayor Rizeppa.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Next, first item on the agenda we have here is minute approval from the May 4th, 2020 regular meeting.
Let's so move.
Support.
And moved and supported. Is there any further discussion from council on the matter? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Benedetti? Benedetti?
Yes.
Bill?
What's wrong with him tonight?
Rick, your screen looks frozen too.
Is
Is it possible for him to use his raised hand? Oh, there he is.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kabawadden?
Yes.
Lefevre?
Yes.
Pate?
Yes.
Perugi?
Yes.
Rizeppa?
Yes.
Von Crooks?
Here, yes.
Motion carries. Mayor Zappa.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. We've nothing for presentations and proclamations. Next thing down the line here, we have, if there's any public comment regarding items on today's agenda. Again, please keep this to items on today's agenda. For anyone wishing to speak, please state your name and address, direct all questions to the chair, and we'd ask that you limit your time to 5 minutes. So please use the feature on Zoom here on the bottom that allows you to raise your hand, and the clerk will unmute you from there. Do we have any
Okay,
hands?
there are no hands raised.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move right on along here. No putting petitions, appointments, all. So we are on to the 33rd. So we are on to the 33rd District Court.
Yeah.
Is anyone else getting feedback, or is it just me?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, I didn't know if it was my internet, so I want to make sure. So we're on to the 33rd District Court financial report from December 31st, 2019. I will turn that over to our court liaison, Councilman Lefevre.
The 33rd District Court Annual Financial Report, the year ending December 31st, 2019.
Was that a motion to approve?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have support?
Support.
It has been moved into supported. Is there any further discussion on that? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Cabawatton,
Yes.
Lefevre,
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi,
Yes.
Rizeppa,
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti, 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 can you hear us? Rick, can you give me a thumbs up?
I hear you. I don't know what's going on. It's
Yeah, your sound is really bad. Maybe can you,
I approve it.
Rick, maybe we can get you to call in on the telephone so that your sound will be better?
Yeah.
Okay. Teresa, can you help Rick with the, okay.
Oh, Trenton City Hall.
Okay. I'm gonna agree.
No.
Hopefully we won't have to have too many more of these type of council meetings.
You're telling me.
Phew. This is getting old.
Sure is.
51005.
Okay.
I feel like
Rick,
I can
can
hear
you,
Rick.
Rick, can you hear us now? Rick, can you hear us now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I
it's
can
much better.
hear you, yes. So we're looking for,
The motion for Bill's court minutes, yes.
yes,
Okay.
thank you. Motion carries, Mayor Rezeppa.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item on the agenda, we'll go down to department heads and officials, and I will turn it over to our city administrator, Scott Church, for the MERS amortization.
Thank you, Mayor. As you indicated, this item is put before the council for your consideration and action tonight to be adopting the amortization extension agreement between the Municipal Employees Retirement System of Michigan and the City of Trenton, extending the amortization for our closed defined benefit divisions, re-amortizing for a 15-year period with an estimated 10-year certain level contribution of $2.5 million for each of the next 10 years. And this is consistent with what was discussed and presented at our last budget meeting.
So moved.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion from council?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Sure. Councilman Cap.
Mr. Church, just wanted to check and see if this agreement has been seen by our attorney and he's okay with it.
Yes, the document was reviewed by both Alan Ackerman and Anthony Bologna, and they agree with the legal format of it. They did not give an opinion as far as the financial, but as far as the legal structure of the document, they did approve of that.
Okay.
I believe Alan is in on the meeting. If he has thoughts contrary to that, if he could please speak now.
I am. Thank you, Scott. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Scott? Good.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. My video went off. I got a tie and I shaved today just so you guys can see what people look like. I got a tie and a sport jacket. Yeah, we looked at it, and that's a decision for the city to make, the city through its city council to make. And do you feel that this isn't the best thing for the city to do? It's the best thing for the city to do. There's a normal warning in there that this offers risk and dangers, and you know that already, but this is a decision you're making. And that language is common language in most transactions.
All right. Thank you, Alan. I just wanted to make sure that you'd seen it in the legal format. There's no pitfalls in it from your perspective.
As long as we don't breach it, but we're going to have to pay this before we pay anything else. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
We probably got bigger problems at hand for that matter too. So, anyone else on council that had any discussion items related to this? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Kabawatan? Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Nope, I'm sorry. I need to start with Lefevre. Lefevre?
Yes.
Pate?
Yes.
Perugi?
Yes.
Rezeppa?
Yes.
Von Crooks?
Yes.
Benedetti?
Yes.
Kabawatan?
Yes.
Motion carries, Mayor Rezeppa.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Next item on the agenda, City Controller budget fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. But before I go over to you, Madam Controller, I'm going to read my letter here again that I had. So as for all those that were on for the public hearing for the budget, I apologize. You got to hear me ramble for a few more minutes here again, but I think it'll provide a good overview and better understanding of some of the decisions that we're making today and we'll be continuing to be making over the next several months. So we began this process for the upcoming year's budget about 3 to 4 months ago. And what really feels closer to 3 to 4 years ago. Nobody really could have predicted how things would have changed since then. At the beginning of the budget process every year, Administration, meet with each department, go through all the budgetary requests, needs, etc. Talk about any operational changes, staffing levels, potential issues, differences from the prior budget, and things of that nature. When we started this process, we were looking at the budget deficit of nearly $2 million right out of the gate, out of a $21 million budget. This deficit didn't happen overnight, and it wasn't caused by reckless spending or too much fat. Over the last 2 decades, we've seen major declines in real dollars in terms of the state shared revenues, and our property tax revenues have still not rebounded to anywhere near the levels before the housing market collapsed over a decade ago. We've continued to provide an incredible level of service to our residents with a roughly 30% reduction in full-time staff. We had an uphill battle to climb, but we got there. We were able to put together a balanced budget through cuts to discretionary spending in every department, getting creative with a lot of department budgets, the change in our MERS amortization schedule that was just approved that still gets us to the 100% funding level at the same date, and perhaps just as importantly, did so without eliminating any full-time jobs, without increasing taxes on residents, and with only using a small amount of fund balance compared to years prior. Things weren't looking as great as I'd like them to, but we were going to get through it. The day we held this last budget meeting with department heads was the day we received word of the first positive coronavirus test in Trenton. And this turned everything completely upside down. Even 2.5 months later, we still don't know when things will be totally normal again, but we will unquestionably be dealing with the impacts of the pandemic from both a public health and economic standpoint for a long time to come. Really, to this day, nobody knows what will be allowed and when, what crowd sizes we'll be able to have, what kind of gatherings we can have, what activities we can guarantee will be safe, and things like that. What we unfortunately do know is that we're going to see a huge hit on the revenue side of our budget to the tune of several $100,000. Funding from the state will drop. We'll get less money with decreases in sales tax revenue that the state distributes, and we'll also see increases in property tax delinquencies from business closures and job losses. All this being said, and with all the unknowns that we face, we're still legally required by our charter to pass a budget by the second meeting in May. And I think it goes without saying this will probably be our most amended budget we've ever had. I'm going to have our controller provide budget updates at least one meeting per month where we can get updated projections, revamped estimations, and make amendments as we need. I think it's important to also remember throughout this what the budget is and what it is not. What it is a framework for our spending for the year. But what it is not is something that sets specific policy for the most part. That's something that is our job as mayor and council. For example, recreational programming is all still included in the budget, but we know it's going to look much different than it does normally. There'll be a lot more virtual offerings, smaller classes, and our rec department's already working on creative ways to get things done to still carry those on. On the other hand, this budget does not currently budget for operating the pool this summer. I need to make it clear that it does for next summer. And this sucks. I really get it. And it's been a rough few days and weeks, frankly, just dwelling on it. But in that time frame and all the research I've done, I've yet to find a single public pool in Michigan that is opening. Oakland County has already announced that they won't be opening any of their pools this year. The city of Ann Arbor has announced the same. All the metro parks are still completely up in the air. I know Scott was on a Zoom with other downriver administrators last Friday, and I was on a conference call with other mayors across Wayne County this morning, and we've yet to find a single one in the area that has plans to open their pools this summer. With new executive orders coming out every day, we could see one tomorrow that says pools can't open, or we could find out that they can open in a matter of weeks. There's just so much unknown, and especially with the overall public health concerns and our ability to sanitize all the facilities that we need, coupled with the economic hit we face when the pool generally also operates at a $250,000 loss every year. I've spoken to Joanne and have received inquiries from the Recreation Commission, and I know that we're going to keep an eye on this situation as these new orders and guidelines come out to see if we have any wiggle room or to be able to eventually do things in a more limited capacity. But as long as it's something that is both safe and financially sound for our community and our residents. There's plenty of other examples like this between the temporary hiring freeze we'll have on hiring full-time employees, when we know when we can open up Westfield for bigger events or for senior activities again and things like that. The situation is totally fluid and really nothing is set in stone with this, as much as that is frustrating. This is a document we're going to evaluate, reevaluate, and then evaluate some more as a council where we can make changes that make sense for our residents, again, with public health, both mental and physical, sound financial decision-making at the forefront of it. I really can't stress enough how enjoyable this entire process has been. I'd really never want to be in, or want my first budget as mayor to be something where we're talking about what we can't do and what we have to take away from the budget, as opposed to what we can do and what we can add to our community. Do what we can to get through this, to make sure we keep everyone safe, that we're protecting our services in our community for future budgets, so we can make sure we can continue to offer them, and ensuring that we don't eliminate any jobs that we need to keep things running in the city. I really want to thank everyone in our administration for all their hard work, the sacrifices, and all the frustrations they've unfortunately had to endure throughout this process. If I had had it my way, I can promise you it never would have involved doing budget meetings exclusively over Zoom, or with a global pandemic looming over us the entire time. But hopefully, we can do better this next time around with that. I really want to thank all the council again for all their work on this, fighting through all these unknowns, coming up with great suggestions to both help our community and to save money, and dealing with so many unprecedented hurdles that none of us could have really ever expected. Lastly, I just really have to thank the residents too for understanding and fighting through this with all of us together. It's been a huge struggle. It's required a lot of adapting to different norms and what that looks like. It'll continue to be that way for a little bit, but our community is going to come out a lot stronger and a lot closer because of doing it together. So I just wanted to make watching a reference there, but so I apologize for taking up so much air, Madam Controller, but I will turn it over to you here for your portion of it.
Thank you, Stephen. The budget resolution, the mayor and city council on May 26, 2020 proposed a millage rate of 24.7506 mils covering the fiscal year July 1st through 2020 to ending June 30th, 2021. The Board of Review has completed its review of the assessment roll on March 18th, 2020, with its members signing a statement to that effect. The City Council has reviewed the recommendations of the city administrative officials and concur. Therefore, within 3 days after the adoption of the proposed millage and after the adoption of the budget, the clerk shall certify to the assessor 15.83.4 for operating millage, 2.3348 for refuge collection, 2.7885 for Act 345 pension system, 0.3971 for the library operating, and 3.3987 for the sewer debt. On the assessment value of $630,299,995 is the assessment roll.
So moved.
Cool.
Support.
Has been moved and supported. Just want to make sure, Madam Controller, was there anything else legally that you needed to read into the record for that, or was it good?
I don't know that I have to read it out loud. I mean, the budgets are there. It's all available by fund number, so I think we're okay.
Okay, cool. So we've got motion and support then. Is there any further discussion from council?
Councilman Lefevre has his hand up.
Yeah, that question was for the statement you made about the pool is going to open next year. Do we have? Are we going to have any money in the budget for the pool next year?
Actually, in the end, I guess Madam Controller, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's budgeted as we normally would for the parts that we have to front load in this fiscal year. Yeah, that's all included in this budget.
Okay, so we have money to open the pool next year.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
great.
I guess I can't predict what happens over the next 8 months or anything like that, but yeah, it's every intention in this budget, and I guess for me personally too, to definitely do that.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. Madam Clerk, was there anyone else?
Councilman Cabowatton.
Yeah, Councilman Cabowatton.
Yes, Karen, just for those in the audience, can you let us know that, was this a tax increase? Was it a decrease? Did it stay the same?
It's exactly the same. The
Okay,
total is
just
exactly the same. The
yeah,
parts
I just wanted everyone to know that we did not increase our taxes on this.
Yeah, that is correct.
Anyone else from council?
No.
Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi,
Yes.
Rezeppa,
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti,
Oh, no.
Yes.
Kiabawatan,
Yes.
Lefevre.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mayor Rezeppa.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I appreciate that. And again, I appreciate all of you. I know my hair is much longer than it normally is, but trust me when I say I'm really on this side too. I am, yeah, like I said, I would say that I'm excited for it to be over, but it's definitely not over, and it's something that we're going to be working on for a long time to come. So I appreciate all your efforts, past, present, and future on this, to everyone on council here. So Madam Clerk, you've got the next couple agenda items here too, so I'll let you take that away too.
The next agenda item is the formal tax resolution, same information that I read in the budget resolution.
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Perugi,
Yes.
Rezeppa,
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti,
Yes.
Kiabawatan,
Yes.
Lefevre,
Yes.
Pate.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mayor Rezeppa.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Madam Controller, please feel free.
The next one is the water and sewer rate resolution. I'll just read the new rates. The water rate will be $5.98 per 1,000 gallons, and the sewer rate will be $6.09 per 1,000 gallons. Total $12.07.
So moved.
Support.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Rezeppa,
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti,
Yes.
Kiabawatan,
Yes.
Lefevre,
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mayor Rezeppa.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Controller, last one.
More. So I have an item from the state of Michigan. It is the notice of approval for our retirement waiver application for our MERS pension plan, and this needs to be received and placed on file.
So moved.
So moved.
Support.
It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti,
Yes.
Kiabawatan,
Yes.
Lefevre,
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi,
Yes.
Rezeppa.
Yes.
Motion carried, Mayor Rezeppa.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item on the agenda is from our city engineer, Wayne County 2020 annual permit package. Mr. Hogan.
Thank you. Before you use the Wayne County 2020 renewal package. This authorizes the city to perform maintenance work and also the special events that take place in Wayne County road right-of-ways. So your approval is requested to sign the agreements and authorize the city engineer to sign the permits on behalf of the city.
So moved.
Support.
And moved and supported. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, Councilwoman Pate.
Bill, I've been watching a lot of webinars and so forth about restrictions being set aside so that roadways can be cleared for biking and so forth. Do you know if Wayne County has discussed anything like that about easing some of the time limits or restrictions that are in these permitting packages during COVID?
No, there's nothing specific related to that in these permits. These are simply our annual permits to perform work within the right-of-way.
Okay, have you heard if Wayne County's been working with cities to, relieve those requirements right now? Has there been any discussion out there in general? Not about the, I know they have to have a guideline for the rest, for when it's normal, but do you know of any cities who are petitioning Wayne County to do some special things right now?
I have not heard of any change.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Pate. Was there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Benedetti,
Yes.
Kabawatan,
Yes.
Lefevre,
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi,
Yes.
Rezepa,
Yes.
Von Crooks.
Yes.
Motion carried, Mayor Rezepa.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now we'll move on to, Madam Clerk, do we have any late items tonight?
No, we do not.
All right, thank you. I will turn it over now to our Mayor Pro Tem Benedetti for the disbursements and statements and then reports as well.
You hope this works, Mayor.
Yep. Oh, we were. And it must have came in crystal clear this time now.
Madam Clerk, can you change the screen? Because unfortunately, what I normally read the agenda off of, I'm using to talk to you tonight.
Absolutely. There you are.
There we go. Thank you. So I make a motion to authorize the disbursements for May 26, 2020 in the amount of $634,709.02.
Support.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Kabawatan,
Yes.
Lefevre,
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi,
Yes.
Rezepa,
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Make a motion to
Thank-
approve the ACH transactions dated April 20th or April 2020, the amount of $598,653.06.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Lefevre,
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi,
Yes.
Rezepa,
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti,
Yes.
Kabawatan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
Make a motion to accept the following reports. The financial summary dated April 30th, 2020, schedule of investments and cash on hand dated April 30th, 2020, library advisory board minutes dated March 11th, 2020, planning commission minutes dated February 26th, 2020, fire department monthly report for April 2020, police department monthly report for April 2020.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion?
Yep, I have some.
Oh, yep, Councilwoman Pate.
So I have a couple questions. So my first question is about when the commissions will be able to host their meetings. Is it still after now the June 12th date? Or if it's 10 people or more, they may have only 5 people on the commission, but I know we have to allow for it to be a public meeting. So do you have any direction for these groups on when their next meetings might be?
Scott, feel free to chime in right now, or Alan for that matter too. Right now, just like with everything else, kind of no. I believe the current order though for public bodies meeting electronically was, and I could be wrong again, Scott or Alan, so it's up June 8th. So I would have to double check on that. I've got the order here somewhere, but the Scott or Alan, did that sound roughly correct?
I have not heard of any directives that have changed away from the encouraging of all business that can be done remotely or through virtual meetings, if they're at all possible to still be taking place in that format. I'm hopeful that with hopefully improving conditions and easing restrictions, we'll be able to conduct all of our committees, businesses, and the mayor and the council meet excuse me, mayor and council meetings in person sooner than later. But I have not been given this is the date we can start meeting in public.
Okay, and then my second question is in regards to the February Planning Commission minutes. It refers to a zoning ordinance that was going to go up for public hearing, and I'm wondering if that document is to be made available to council and public before that public hearing.
Scott, do you want to take that one as well? I know it would be made public beforehand. Yes, where it's at right now.
Yes, and that's one of the challenges of the city facilities being closed. Typically, something like that would be on display and available for public review in the clerk's office. Obviously, the clerk's office is closed to the public at the current time. That document should be available electronically or will be made available electronically before that meeting would be taking place. I'm not sure if it's in its final draft form. I believe there were some suggested edits after the initial review by the Planning Commission that the planning consultant had incorporated. I'm not sure if he's done the complete incorporation of those edits at this point, though.
Okay.
But yeah, to answer your question, certainly that will be available for review by the public and the mayor and council before that public hearing.
Okay, and just as a comment, and I don't know if we have to make this as a motion or just a way that we operate, but that public hearing was posted on the city website, but was never sent as an alert to myself as a council person, and I'm guessing that no other council people got that notice. I think it's pretty important that we all get notifications of any type of public hearing that the citizens would have, some kind of say in, whether it be zoning appeals board and then we can pick and choose which ones we want to go to. But this one is pretty important, and I possibly could have missed it because all I did was see it on the scrolling announcements before it was canceled. So if it requires a motion or an administrative, decision of some kind that we are notified of all public hearings before they occur, that would be helpful in the future.
Yeah, and that's certainly fine by me, just logistically, and maybe is that something that could be done through your office, Madam Clerk? I'm just trying to think of the right way to go about that. I'm not sure what our process is because, yeah, I mean, to be honest, Councilwoman, I don't get the notice for those either. So yeah, it's pretty much just sort of checking in because the commissions are technically supposed to operate with a degree of independence. But I would totally agree with that sentiment that the more notice that we can get, the better on that. So I guess we'll talk to us. Say, Scott, if you have any suggestions either to, or if Debbie, if you're able to get those out. I'm not sure how those
I do get those notices to post. So when I post them, I can send out an email to all the council.
Perfect.
That won't be a problem.
I appreciate it, Debbie. Thank you. And I think that's it. I did have something to say about the library, but not necessarily the minutes, so I can save that for later if you'd like.
Okay, yeah, we can do that in other council business if that makes more sense. So.
Thank you so much.
Good, thank you.
Okay. I believe Councilman Benedetti also has his hand up.
Yep, Councilman Benedetti.
I do. Wendy, you make a great point there, but when we do that, if we have a meeting, we all can't go to the same meeting. Is that correct?
Correct.
Because all of us cannot be in a room when they're discussing stuff as a council. So if we're going to do that, we need to communicate with each other that we're going and not going, because you can only have so many of us in a room at one time, or else it's considered one of our meetings and it wasn't posted. Is that correct, Stephen?
Yeah, there is some open meetings restrictions on it of us not being able to be right in the same place discussing any kind of policy matters. So I don't know, since I've been on council, that we've faced a situation where there was more people than in attendance, but I think I'd have to defer to Alan here as well.
I know we came close during the CAG meetings.
Right. So I'd have to defer to Alan. I mean, unfortunately, it's not my expertise, and
that's fine. I'm just bringing it up, hoping it was going to get sent to him anyways.
Sure.
Mayor, if I can respond partially to that. We'll review that with Alan and Anthony on the Open Meetings Act, but to your point, I think there is a difference if the council or a majority or quorum were to be present of the elected body and you are actively involved in discussion or deliberating or making a decision. That's different than actually being in attendance. And an example I can think of is back the EPA public hearing that took place at St. Paul's. I believe the mayor and full council were present for that meeting, but they were attending. They were not participating or not making a public decision as a public body. So I think that might be a distinction, but certainly we'll get clarification with the city attorneys so we have some guidance. We certainly don't want to be stepping on any landmines.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Scott. Thanks,
Yep,
Stephen.
thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other discussion on reports here? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Okay, can I just verify? I have Benedetti made the motion, and can I verify who seconded?
Support, I did.
Okay, thank you, Timber. Pate,
Yes.
Peruggi,
Yes.
Rizeppa,
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti,
Yes.
Cabawatan,
Yes.
Lefevre.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mayor Rizeppa.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So next on the agenda, we will move right into other council business, and I will. There's just a couple updates I'd give. As I've done since all this started and whatnot, just want to give an update on our numbers, COVID-19 cases. As of today, and this is inclusive of today's, which were both zeros, we are at 142 positive cases, with unfortunately 9 fatalities of Trenton residents with positive tests. Last week, last Friday, Scott and I met with City of Riverview, with their mayor, administrator, and landfill director to talk about the influx of complaints we've certainly been getting about the landfill, and really the unsightliness, the smell, all the issues that go along with it. So they were very upfront, acknowledged that they've made their mistakes in the past, and that when we back in 2017, when they were going through the permit process for the expansion, we had passed a resolution in opposition to that, but at the time Riverview did have a different mayor. They now have a new landfill director as well. And really, we're understanding of our concerns slightly. They told us that, and apologies if I don't give the most scientific explanations for these, because landfills are not my expertise. But it did us about talking about the problems that they were in cell 7 of the landfill dumping, which is on the southeast portion of it, closer to Grange, so it's a lot easier to see off of King Road or from neighborhoods in Trenton. They've since moved east, which is blocked by a hill and a tree line. And in about 2 to 3 weeks, they'll be moving to the other side of the hill. They indicated that one of the big problems they face, now being on our side of the hill, that normally there's a west wind coming out in that direction, but they got hit over a period of time with a north wind. So in terms of steps that they have taken to prevent these issues in the future, they have installed an extended fencing with a backstop to prevent some of that garbage overflow in the future. They hired temporary staff to clean out the area and actually even into Trenton to pick up any of the garbage that may have gone through there. And they have also started using a new foam agent that they've added to prevent smell. And it's also been helpful because birds are naturally averse to it, from what I've gathered. So that also obviously prevents a lot of the seagulls and the messes that can come with that too. They've added dozens of wells throughout the course of it as well to channel some of the methane that would have normally leaked out into the atmosphere, that they've actually found a way to use that to power the landfill, again, rather than have it escape into the air. The state and county both came out there and receive any violations at that time. However, said that they don't want to be the C neighbor, they want to be an A neighbor, wanted to exceed those standards and aren't comfortable with that. They are, I want to assure everyone, they are tracking all the calls and emails that they get and do keep a log of that. So your efforts are working for anyone that's watching that has faced those issues. That is certainly important to do so going forward. And I guess to quell any other potential concern that, I mean, I don't want to speak for the entirety of council, but I feel pretty comfortable saying that, you know, we passed a resolution unanimously in opposition to the expansion. We as the governing body don't unfortunately have any say over it formally because it is in another community. But I feel, you know, the exact same way that, you know, if we could reverse decisions that were made in the 60s that put the landfill in a residential area, would certainly be thrilled to do so. But in the interim, you know, while we'll certainly, you know, try and not allow for expansion, but do our best to mitigate all the next negative externalities that our residents do have to face in the interim because of that. So keep it up, everyone. Those calls and messages do work. And as they say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So please make sure if there are any issues that you make sure that they do get documented because that's the paper trail matters there. On a more brighter note, I've had some discussions with DPW. We will be able to offer a recycling day for the first weekend in June, just as before. I unfortunately, off the top of my head, don't remember the hours that we had set it at before, but we'll be doing so on the Friday and Saturday. I believe it's Friday, June 5th, and Saturday, June 6th, in the Kennedy Recreation Center parking lot. This will be for residents only. And please, this will only be for recycling. This won't be for oils, for metal, for other trash or anything like this at this point. But to that point, we do plan to, knock on wood, be able to open the transfer station on June 12th and get back to normal there. So we'll at least have another round of this test run here with the remote recycling sites to get some data and make some informed decisions on that going forward to make things easier for everyone. I do want to thank the Parks and Rec Department and the Civic Commission for the Memorial Day ceremonies that they were able to put together yesterday. While it's obviously a huge bummer that we didn't get to do the parade and the normal ceremony outside the library, they went a long ways in doing something that, you know, to recognize and honor all those that unfortunately for us as we do on Memorial Day. So thank you to all their efforts on that part. And lastly, but certainly not least, I will kick it over to Scott, if you'd able to give us an update on Riverside, or Scott or Alan for that matter.
Mayor, I believe Alan, as a direct participant in those discussions, was going to provide an update on that.
Perfect.
Thank you. We've signed what the judge has as an order to be entered on July 2nd, which sets the property up for auction unless there's massive and major improvements, including paying the attorney fee he owes via receiver, that the doctor owes the receiver, and some type of major investment in showing, in first of all, protecting the building, which has not been done to date from what I can tell, and in finding a way to remedy the blight caused by the building. I think that after July 2nd, I think that we will have a positive response from the court and probably an appeal from the doctor, and then the receiver will decide whether he wants to auction out despite the appeal made by Dr. Muhammad. The problem involved in this is that we got to get this property cleaned up, and everyone knows it, including the judge. The doctor was supposed to give us a police card, and from what we can tell to date, he hasn't done that other than part of the time. You'll see the windows are off again. All the protection for the openings has been removed again, and I think that we're getting towards the end now. I do not think this will be sold by the end of the year, but I think that something positive will happen well before that, meaning that it will be put up for auction. We'll have people look and figure out what they want to do.
Great. Thank you very much, Alan.
Thank you.
So we'll now go to the rest of council here. And I believe we are left Mayor Pro Tem Benedetti.
First, Stephen, I'd like to thank you for bringing a budget that, we thought was going to be good to work with, and then things changed. Appreciate you changing with it, the council changing with it. It was a trying time. I mean, here we sat and you were supposed to be doing the budgets this year, and now you're making the budget, which I'm sure that was a surprise, and I think you did a great job with it. I want to thank the council for being patient with me, because now all of a sudden I had to sit and figure this out. And I know it was different than it had been in the past, but everybody's made a statement. This budget is put in place because by charter, we're forced to do it. Is this budget going to get us all the way through? Probably not. And we all realize that. So we know we're going to make changes as we go along this year. And I, want to thank the council for working with us to get it that way and agreeing that, yeah, this is what we need to do. This is where we're going to end up. And hopefully it's going to improve all the way through it. And as for the residents, look, we made a hard decision with that pool, but nobody else is doing it. I know Trenton wants to be the leader in 1,000 things, and we want to make Trenton the best place. This is not one of the things we want to lead in. We want to sit back and relax and watch and see what the outcome is and what everybody else is doing. What is the state going to tell us to do? This is one thing we need to get other information than just us, the Parks and Rec people. We need a whole bunch of other people involved when it comes to opening up public events like that. Besides that, I have nothing else.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem. Appreciate that. Next up, we have Councilman Lefevre.
I just want to say thanks to you, Mayor, for doing a great job. It's hard to do cuts in the budget. You did them. You weren't afraid to do them. I apologize for that. Rick did a great job as your sidekick, and along with Karen Scott, you all deserve a great big round of applause. You did a phenomenal job. And on behalf of the citizens and my fellow colleagues, I'm really proud of you. Okay.
I appreciate that.
On a different note, I opened my mail today and I found a check in there for $1,100. I was, oh my gosh, that's great. And what it was a credit back on my automobile insurance. I got 3 cars. We're only driving one of them. So I got a credit back for about a little over $1,000 in a check. Who monitors the city vehicles when we aren't using them? Why don't we take them off? You can add them daily. You take a vehicle off today and add it tomorrow. Do we do any of that at all, or ever consider that?
I will defer to Scott and then probably Bill Hogan here as well, but I don't know of, I guess, for one, I didn't personally know you could do things like that daily. I thought it took more time than that, but I don't know if that, I mean, for some of our vehicles, I don't know if there were any that really went out of commission this, and I guess, yeah, again, Scott and Bill, I'd have to kick it over to.
What about the senior transportation?
Sure, that would be a prime candidate for it there.
Yes, they have our vehicle liability insurance is on a pooled basis that we give them our inventory at the beginning of the year. We do any adjustments if we add or delete vehicles during the year, but that is a question I can follow up with our agent to see if they do any type of crediting on things that are completely out of service. But I believe the majority of our vehicle cost on the liability is just a per vehicle state licensing or registration fee. But that's a good question, and I will follow up with Brent Everingham on that tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Scott.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you for
that's
that, Bill.
all. I just want to say how much I really enjoy these Zoom meetings. They're so much fun.
If I never have to do another Zoom meeting in my life. No, you made out on that, Bill. I got a rebate back from my insurance through Progressive. I got $25. So
wow.
Try and not spend it all in one place for, I probably drove about 6,000 miles less than I normally would have in this time frame. But yeah, it's something. But yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing that up too. That's a great idea there.
Overcharged.
So next up, we will have Nelson, Councilman Perugia.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to say I think we should continue the Zoom meetings because Bill's been more punctual with these Zoom meetings than the president. So I want to say thank you, Mayor, for the landfill update. I know we're getting a lot of emails on that, so I appreciate the update. Sometimes those updates get lost in the shuffle, so I want to say thank you. Also want to say thank you to you and the administration for the budget, as long as with Rick. I mean, it was not a whole lot of fun. It was tough, and you guys did a wonderful job. My next thing is geared towards Joanne or Tim. As it relates to the pool, I know there's a pump out and needs some cement work. I guess maybe somebody else can answer this question. Where are we at with the repair on that pool? Because I think, you know, the repairs obviously need to be done so we can be ready when we can turn the switch at any moment. I don't want to be waiting on a repair.
I would say I know that DEPF was doing some work on the pool as it is. So if Bill is still on, if you're able to kind of just, if you have any, or Joanne, frankly, too, or Tim, just for any update as to how far along that got in terms of direct repairs. Again, pool maintenance is not a specialty of mine. I said, see Joanne, there you go.
Yeah, so we've been in touch with regarding the pump that needs repair. We are waiting on the quote for that to come back. And as soon as that comes back, then we will bring that forward to your honorable body for, depending on the cost, for approval. And part of the issue with the cement work, and I can have Tim elaborate on this, but the pool companies are overwhelmed at this moment to be able to get that work done. Or it would be our hope that we would have that work complete before we open next year. And we can open without those repairs being done if we are able to, you know, get the word from the governor that pools are ready can be opened this summer, and we would make a proposal to you if it's cost effective, you know, to amend the budget. Then, you know, we could open without those particular things done, but the pump does have to be done before the pool can open. So do you have anything further to contribute?
No, that nailed it. Thank you.
You know, I'd like to see that move forward, because I hate to be caught behind that repair if we have a chance to open up.
I'll be over.
Absolutely.
I'll be over in a little
We
bit.
have contacted 2 different companies in regards to the pump itself. We do believe we can have that fixed quite quickly once they're able to get moving. The cement work and the deck work is something that's a little bit more timely. We may try to find a short-term repair to get through the summer, and then also plan a longer repair process either later in the summer or early fall, so that we're ready for next spring.
Okay. Thank you both. Appreciate it. I'm all done. Thank you, Mayor.
Yep.
Thank you, Councilman Peruggi. Appreciate that. Councilwoman Pate.
Yes, since Joanne and Tim are hopefully still there, I was wondering if you could give community an idea on the Buzz calendar. And I heard that it was still going to come out, but I'm wondering if you have a better date that you can share with us on that.
Yeah, so at this point, thank you, Councilwoman. We are, at this point, the Buzz magazine is not going to be the yearly magazine that it normally is.
Okay.
What our anticipation is, and we're figuring that out, that we will be doing supplemental documents, publications, whether it's online. We may do a smaller version of the Buzz, but right now our goal is to work in getting information out, most likely digitally and through announcements for the upcoming summer sessions, because we don't have enough time to put that together and such, you know, just because we don't have all the information, and everything is so fluid right now still. But we are working really hard to get those programs in place, and you should be seeing information coming out on programming for summer within the next 2 weeks. So
Okay,
we're moving forward with that. And as far as the publication, it's probably going to be, if we do something, it will be later in the year, and it will not be the entire year calendar.
Okay. And then to follow up too with you guys, I was walking yesterday and noticed a boat at the Rotary docks. And they were kind of hanging on to something there. And that just got me wondering, you know, should we be calling if we see stuff like that? Should, you know, and then also like what the status on that new dock there is. It was the one on the right-hand side as you're looking at the docks. But just your thoughts on people trying to use that dock regardless if it's open or not.
I know we talked about that earlier today as well. One of the things that we are facing is the temporary barricades that are getting put up. Unfortunately, with the water going back and forth, they're either getting washed away or different things of that nature. The dock is set and scheduled according to the contractor as of Friday. It will go in this Friday is when they will begin installing it. So we'll hopefully see that for the weekend upcoming.
Okay, good. Yeah, that didn't look very safe yesterday. Okay, and then my next question, well, actually my next comment is about the library. So I was interacting with their Facebook page and, you know, just asking questions. They're very cute on that page. They've got a lot of, you know, cheeky things they say all the time to get you interested in the page. But they said something about the drop off of books. And then I asked a question about, well, you know, what kind of measures are you taking on disinfecting books, since you probably can't wash them? They're made out of paper and so forth and so on. So the library did say that they would put the books in quarantine for about 72 hours before they go back into circulation. So, and that they were also following all the guidelines that the CDC had recommended if they get a chance to open. So I just thought maybe people would want to know that. And then let's see what else was on my list here. I had a bunch of them. The Riverview Landfills, Stephen, did the people of Riverview say they were interested in potentially hosting some kind of community, like every quarterly, maybe update meetings with residents, a small group perhaps of residents, a representative group of them, to just kind of give them like updates every 6 weeks. I know we did that for Riverside, not that they ever followed through on them, but you know, maybe something that the residents can put a group together where 2 or 3 of them are able to be in on the meetings that you have, and so that they can share their concerns, or just even get updates from Riverview potentially.
Yeah, so I didn't ask directly about having like a bigger meeting like that, but the mayor did indicate that, yeah, any sort of operational changes they have, issues that they might be undergoing and stuff, they said that they'd let us know in advance of anything that, you know, we might expect to hear about, see, things of that nature. I know Scott and their administrator talk quite often, and he's been very good about giving him heads up on types of things, but next conversation I have, I can definitely bring something like that up. Like I said, I didn't ask if they would want to do something public, but I think a lot of it would be just making sure that like we can have something come from it, and make sure that, right, it's you know, got a good purpose for it and all, rather than, I mean, because yeah, I've got lots of feelings about landfills, but right, it's if I could talk about it till I'm blue in the face, but if it can't, if it's nothing that there's like action items on, I would just want to make sure that it's not something that, I guess, just kind of gets us all worked up and then there's nothing we can do about it, but just to make sure that there's something productive to come from it. I'd have no problem asking, and I would be, I don't want to speak for them, but just based on our conversation, they did seem like they'd be receptive to something like that, or at least a small group related to it.
Yeah, that's good news, because they do want to be a good neighbor. So I figured, well, better to involve the neighbors that are impacted, and
yep.
You know, not a meeting of 700 people, but 1 or 2 that, you know, have their eyes on it could get involved.
Sure, or at the very least get questions answered.
Yeah, my next question is about whether or not there was discussion about some kind of liability report or an insurance assessment for whether or not we open pools or you know, summer events or any kind of activities. I wasn't sure if we had an update on that yet, if Alan had heard anything.
So Scott, yeah, did you happen to hear back on that? I know last I talked to Scott about that item right around when we did on Friday afternoon when you and I spoke.
Yeah.
That he had not gotten anything back, but Scott, did you have updates on that front?
I did receive a wealth of information from Gladfelter. They are not issuing any blanket recommendations. given the fact that they cover municipalities across the country, from state to state, county to county, health department. They're just encouraging compliance with all local and state regulatory requirements in compliance with any of the regular standard health orders, CDC, and so on. But they did not give us a blanket thumbs up or no, you're prohibited from opening. Back to something along the lines of Mr. Lefevre's question a few minutes ago, though, did raise the issue that certainly having a pool has liability costs associated with it. If we were to not be open this year, we will be receiving any credits for that, and that is something that they are considering and evaluating if we were to not be open the entire season.
Okay. All right, thank you. And yeah, just to echo everybody else's thoughts about Memorial Day weekend was, you know, they did the best they could. We got to watch the live stream, and I posted that on my Facebook page if anyone wants to see that. There were 3 wreaths that were laid, and a gentleman who had read his 8th grader who had read his letter to the soldiers. And they have, you know, banners up downtown or down the fence line, so that was nice. And thank you to this City Beautiful Commission who put out bows for honoring the people who are on the front lines out there, and of course those who have lost their lives. And thanks everybody for all the support and getting that budget passed. It's overwhelming, and it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of reading, and it's a lot of questioning, and everybody was great at helping me, and you know, everybody worked really well together, and thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman.
I am all set.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bond. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, did I go out of order?
Kabawatan.
Councilman Kabawatan. Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to thank again, Mr. Mayor, those in the administration, everybody that put a hand into this budget. This was probably you know, obviously a different situation for me coming into this a little new, but more so considering the situation that we've been given with the coronavirus COVID-19. So my hat's off to everybody in administration and department heads and everybody that was helping to, you know, kind of think outside of the box, come to the table with some great ideas. We have a great budget. Obviously, it's going to be a fluid situation, and we're going to have to keep our eyes on it on a minute-by-minute basis as things change. But really, thank you for answering all the questions that I've had through the process. It was just a very, what I thought was going to be a huge process. Really, it was a very simple process, even though it was a little challenging through Zoom, but you know, we made the best of it. So my hat's off to everybody that worked on this, and likewise those of you on council, you know, answering the questions and kind of help guide me through this. So thank you very much. I'd like to congratulate our fire chief, because it sounds like he got a new fire truck. So I saw that the other day in the fire station too. So congratulations to Chief Creech and the members of the fire department. Other than that, I do not have anything else to add. Just again, thank you everybody. Keep up the good work with the social distancing and you know, working through these challenging times. This was a challenging budget, and it was some tough decisions to make with the pool. I look forward to seeing the pool open someday, whether that's this season or whether it's next season. But I know my family uses the pool a lot, and it's a challenging thing, but I think all in all, we made the right decision. So thank you again.
Thank you very much, Councilman. I appreciate that. Last but certainly not least, Crooks.
Hi, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I like to echo what everybody else said too about the budget. I don't want to sound redundant, but I was very pleased with what happened in this kind of times. I thought we were going to have raised between you and your administrator. We had to spend 30 days with the deficit that we started out with. So good job. I've been through 27 of these budgets, and it doesn't make it any easier every year. So, but pertaining to the pool and the man who spoke, Mr. Reedy, I believe his name was, I kind of want to say something here. I grew up in Trenton, and that pool has been a sacred cow to me since I was a little kid. And this council did not make that decision lightly to close that pool. And I kind of a little bit offended at him saying that his family is going to, or people he knows, make so much money a year and they're going to move to Grosse Ile. Well, you know what? I got to say to that, to me, that sounds threatening. And if you want to move to Grosse Ile, go ahead. But guess what? You won't have nearly the city services, including recreation and that ice rink and that pool. Nobody has the city services that we have or have provided since I've lived in Trenton 61 years. And it reminds me of when Trump got elected, all the celebrities were going to move to Canada. Well, they're still here. So, you know, with that said, I just want to say Trenton still is the greatest city. And who would have thunk that this pandemic would have happened? None of us are happy. I own a business in this town that I'm worried about opening more than anything, you know, else. So, and that our city hall gets open. And I'm not so sure where the governor's guidelines are or who's guiding her, but I think there's some terrible decisions being made in Lansing. And, you know, we've had to make a couple tough ones in Trenton, but deciding whose businesses are opening is really not sitting well with me, because I know there's a lot of us sitting, you know, that are just sitting here for almost 3 months, and yet some businesses are allowed to open and some aren't. So I just think, I don't know if we need to send a letter or what, because June 12th is her next, you know, date that she wants to open up this, you know, other stuff or take out the stay at home. But, you know, quite honestly, this is, I just don't think it's fair across the board. And so, you know, I just wanted to get that off my chest and talk about Trenton and what good we do here in this community for our residents. Far be it to want to live on that island and have to deal with the bridge till December being shut. You know, you can't swim across the bridge or swim across in the pool. But, you know, I just have to say that I didn't really kind of like that threatening kind of move there in these kind of unprecedented times. So, you know what? Our residents love this community. So I hope they stay here. That's all I got to say on my soapbox.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. That was fantastic. I didn't respond. If no one else.
Well, I'm going to respond because
sure.
Guess what? I don't, you know, Mayor, I just say it like it is, and everybody knows I do. And I'm defending you, this administration, and what this city stands for. So that's really all I have to say.
Could not appreciate that anymore. I appreciate you, Councilwoman. And as I said, I'm going to be the first one in line the day you're back at it here.
Yeah,
so
I know you will.
Yeah. So we will turn it over now to our other elected officials, and we'll start with you, Madam Clerk.
I would like to just mention that our next council meeting is Monday, June 1st, and it looks like we will be having another Zoom council meeting. I did want to ask you, though, because there was a couple dates dropped out there. Did someone say that June 8th is when public can start having meetings? Or did I hear that wrong?
That was my best guess at my memory of what the order was. And I mean, let's not make any plans to do that until we get the all clear, because I've thought we might have been out of the woods for, I mean, when we initially scheduled this meeting for the state, we were hopeful that we might be able to get together in person. So
yes, okay.
But yeah, I think we should all plan for at least the next one being via Zoom.
Yes, maybe the June 15th if all goes well.
So
our next regular council meeting will be on Monday, June 1st at 7 p.m. and it will be virtual again via Zoom.
Thank you very much. Our assessor, Mr. Dahlquist.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Mayor, I have nothing for you tonight, but thank you for asking. You have a good evening.
You too. Thank you very much, Mr. Dahlquist. Our treasurer, Mr. McCullough.
I also thank you, but I do have something to add, and it's just to update you. The Fire and Police Pension Board met in person. In person. Zoom, last Wednesday, and we also had a meeting for the Healthcare 149 OPEB meeting. And I got to tell you, it went much better than I had assumed. And there was a lot of planning, a lot of people involved in helping set it up and making sure that it ran. We didn't have anybody attend by the public, but again, I know there's a few of you that was plugged in on this. It met my expectations and exceeded them. So just wanted to let you know.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Treasurer. It's great news.
Yep.
Now we will open it up for our department heads. Does any of our departments have anything that they'd like to share with the council and public here? I think I see Erin's hand up. We'll start with her. Erin Chapman, the library director.
Can everybody, hi, I'm Erin Chapman, the library director. Good evening, Mayor Zeppa. Good evening, council. And yes, I want to thank Councilwoman Pate for mentioning the library's Facebook. That is a regular way of checking in with us and following us, and we respond to patrons via social media and email. We've been making library cards for those who reach out to us on email, and our book drop is open. Patrons are not, you don't have to return your materials. Everything that was checked out before we closed on March 14th has been extended, and there are no late fines. But if you wish to return your materials, you can. The book drops are now open. And I just also wanted to mention that we're planning a summer reading club, even though it is going to be virtual. So we're planning a challenge, and then we also have programs that are going to be posted on our website and social media. Our librarians have been providing live book discussion groups. We've gone viral with some of these videos where we're instructing people how to download ebooks and e-audiobooks. So I would encourage everybody to check that out. And Wednesdays are our story time. So Wednesday at 10 o'clock on Facebook Live. So be sure to tune in. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Other department heads. All right. We will then move on to public comment here. To speak to the council, please begin by stating your name and address. Direct all questions through me, the chair. And we ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes. You can virtually raise your hand. On the bottom, there's a button for participants, and then raise hand, or depending on your screen, it might just say raise hand already. But please utilize that feature if possible.
There are no hands raised.
All right.
Peter Stephen, I raised my hand with the reaction button, but
oh, okay, good enough. Yeah. There you go. Thumbs
Bill
up,
Jasmine, 2655 Long Meadow Drive, Trenton, Michigan. And I'd just like to make everybody concerned. There are starting to be ice cream trucks rolling through the neighborhoods, and I don't know if the clerk has issued any licenses so far, but they should have a truck license. Okay.
Yes, we do have one ice cream truck that is registered. If there's more than one, then no, but we do have one ice cream vendor registered.
So they should check the back of the truck to see if they have a Trenton license, and then
yeah.
call the police if they find them.
It's Hamburger's Ice Cream is the one that is registered.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much for that, Bill, too. Yeah, that's something good to keep an eye out for. And yeah, if you see any others that don't have that license, please inform our police department. That is no good. All right. Anyone else wishing to speak to the council? Well, seeing none, I'm gonna entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll on adjournment?
Perugi?
Yes.
Brzeppa?
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti,
Yes.
Kabawatan,
Yes.
Lefevre,
No, his left turn signal's off.
Lefevre,
Yes.
Pate.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mayor Rezeppa.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and thank you all very much. I hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. I appreciate, as I've said a few times here, appreciate all your work on all this. Everyone has a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Monday.
You too. Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.